of top 64. We don't see that very often, so we've got one more deck that is actually, there essentially, fighting off what I call the duopoly. Two decks that are coming up against each other. Steel Sapphire, the last stalwart against them. But we've been saying for a while, this is a deck you don't want to play. How aggressive do we get with a mulligan? Ruben's eyeing up a 2-card mulligan.
I mean, sometimes you need to be aggressive. Sometimes you need to be quite passive and just make sure you've got enough ink to, let you actually play the game. We see Justin utilizing that Scuttle, super interesting card that was revealed and released, in Ursa's Return. 2-cost inkable, 1/3. And when you play him, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and you're looking to find an item card. Can be really important for finding things like that turn 3 Fishbone Quill, or even later on in the game helping us to find Lucky Dime, which is such an important piece in the game plan for the Sapphire player up against pretty much anything.
And don't tell Joe, but the Scuttle has been kept in the opening hand. Justin deciding that is an important card. And here's the thing about Lucky Dime. If you don't find it, it's closer to the top because you've taken 4 cards off your deck, put them on the bottom. If you do find it and it gets discarded, it can be recovered with Tamatoa. So getting the Lucky Dime early and having it hit the discard pile is not a bad thing. Not so relevant for this matchup, but you never know. And we see an enchanted card inked on turn 1. So we've heard this one before, Baker. Turn 1 Porpsicle.
Turn 1 Porpsicle, pretty traditional stuff. But yeah, let's talk for this moves for a moment. We're going to see a Porpsicle on one side of the field and then just an ink, and I believe that's a Chernobog's Followers. The foiling is throwing me off a bit, but I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, 100%. Just go back to that Scuttle very briefly. One of the reasons I love this Scuttle, not just for its ability, but it's one of those low-cost characters that you can put down next to something like your Tamatoa to protect it against things like B-King Undisputed and Lady Tremaine. So the fact that Justin is playing low-cost characters like this Scuttle may be a huge difference maker, but that one in particular won't be. It's going to go straight into the inkwell, and we pass over to Ruben, who's got a Flynn Rider in hand. You've got to think that that's going to be a line that they might be interested in. Really nice hand here, actually. We've got the Flynn, we've got the Goat and the Rabbit for some draw. I think there was a Maleficent there. So, yep, this is looking like a pretty good start. We do see that Flynn Rider coming down, exerting 2. We're going to quest with the Chernobog's Followers. No need to draw a card straight away. They might draw a card, but I think they're going to leave it on the board there. And we pass over to Justin, who now needs to find an answer to Flynn.
Yeah, that Flynn has got 2 power, 2 strength, I should say. And if it is the strongest thing on the board at the beginning of your turn, you get, or to the field at the beginning of your turn, you get free lore. Fishbone Quill comes down. And do we have anything that can match Flynn here? Or is Justin just going to be giving up here?
Yeah, no, that's going to be it, unfortunately. The Fishbone Quill being our 3-cost card on curve. We're going to do Secret Ink up to 4, but unfortunately not able to get a character down. So as we move over to Ruben's turn, that Flynn Rider is going to gain 3 lore, which is going to boost them up to 4, which I'm sure will be updated in just a moment. That's Chernobog re-readying. Yep, the player's just establishing that we are on... we had a little bit of an extra jump there.
We are on 4, 1 from the Chernobog, 3 from the Flynn.
Absolutely.
So, we're back over to Ruben here, getting free lore off that Flynn. It doesn't always work, but oh, it is a good feeling when it does. It makes you feel so good. Because honestly, most characters don't get to quest for free before they're removed a lot of the time. Now we see the reason Chernobog stays down. We bounce it back with the Madam Mim Fox, which firstly, decent character. Secondly, I want to say 4 strength.
You're absolutely right, Ross, and that's going to be really hard for Justin to answer. I'm not sure if there's... to be fair, he could... No, I'm not sure there's anything that could do the Tinkerbell. Okay, I was absolutely wrong. The Tinkerbell is absolutely a way to get there. Inking and then Fishbone Quill getting us up to 6. So yeah, of course, these ramp decks being able to play these bigger characters much sooner, so that Tinkerbell was absolutely necessary to stop Flynn Rider from gaining even more lore.
Yeah, that's what you see. When you see a Flynn coming down, you go, right, I can either take it out or I can play a more powerful character, a stronger character, but one of those 2 things needs to happen. If Flynn is let to just run away with the game, things can get out of hand very, very quickly indeed. Top deck Porpsicle from Justin, and oh, we're playing it as well.
Yep. coming straight onto the board. Let's find ourselves another card. We've got a Cogsworth, another Tinkerbell, and that along came Zeus in hand. Really powerful removal option. We're going to be inking Cogsworth. I think that was courtesy of the Fishbone Quill. And down comes another Tinkerbell, who's going to put another 1 damage on all characters. That will remove the Flynn Rider and bring Madam Mim Fox down to just 1 health remaining, or 1 willpower remaining, forgive me.
Yeah, and that is very interesting. Tinkerbell 2 turns in a row. Justin's hand is concerning me a little bit here. We're not playing against an Emerald deck, and yet Justin, I think, has 1 card in hand right now. No Hiram Flavisham down. That would be perfect at this point. We do see a Fortisphere getting an... Oh, but we don't get anything. It was a long game Zeus in hand. Did you see what the other card was?
I think it was a Let It Go. I might be wrong, but certainly not what we need. And that is the double-edged sword. That is Fishbone Quill. It gives you such incredible ramping opportunities to get to a nice high ink count, but it does deplete your hand size. And usually they look to counteract that with Flavisham, the toy maker. But Justin hasn't been able to find one, so not able to rebuild that hand. The Tinkerbell is going to challenge into the Fox and also putting 2 damage on the Rabbit. The Fishbone Quill is going to exert to ink again, and we pass back over. Ruben holding a couple of Be Prepared, so he is very prepared for a big board.
Oh, he absolutely is. He's not there yet in terms of ink. Now down comes the Rabbit. I don't think we've inked this turn, have we?
No, I don't believe so.
Now we have.
That's it. Down comes the Queen's Castle into the Inkwell. I can see a Rabbit, a Medusa, and a couple of Be Prepareds there. I don't think there's any ink in Ruben's hand, so he's definitely going to be hoping to top deck an ink on the next turn to be able to continue to build that Inkwell, build to those cards like Be Prepared. Yeah,
and the thing is, Ruben is actually, he's already on 10 lore.
Yep.
Feels like he hasn't done very much.
Nope.
But he's already on 10 lore. This is what these Ruby Amethyst decks do. They control your board and just a little bit of cheeky lore here and there. Obviously, the Flynn Rider helped a lot getting free.
Yeah, that's the big
little bit
reach.
of questing when you can. Already up to 10.
Yeah, that Flynn Rider really just putting in so much of the work. That Ruby Amethyst tends to be very slow in its lore gain, as you say. Maybe a couple of characters here and there, a Chernobog's Followers, a Rabbit, just getting us bits and pieces. But that Flynn Rider gets that really early reach that really benefits the Ruby Amethyst deck that has such a slow early game. So now its early game can be really just as lethal as its end game with access to those sort of cards. And we just see an along came Zeus and a smash in the hand of Justin. It's not all that great, I'm afraid to say. We do see the smash played on the Rabbit, stopping Ruben from recycling it and gaining even more card resources, but then that's pretty much it. Justin has to pass back over to Ruben, who has a nice big hand.
Yeah, a lot of options here. We did see the Maui challenging and taking out a character the previous term. We've got a Rabbit in hand for Ruben. We've got a bunch of inkable cards. We've got a Sisu there, which I think another Sisu as well. We got another ink down here. Now we see that Sisu coming into play, and that means that Ruben has a lot of 3 characters down.
That's quite a lot.
But they are decent characters as well. They are ones you want to have down most of the time. Justin needs to get something going. Along came Zeus, takes out the Sisu. That's a good start. Mickey Mouse, the detective version, goes and gets an ink. But with still no lore from Justin whatsoever. And I know these Sapphire decks, these Steel decks, can jump. But we got to start at some point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm less worried about how far behind he is in lore and more concerned about the lack of actual resources. Because if Justin had a nice big hand, he could probably feel a lot more comfortable at 0. A big hand, and I don't know how many ink he's at now. I'm guessing 12, something like that. Maybe that's no, to be fair, it might be that many. But my point being, if he had the resources, he would potentially be able to equalize a couple of things like Tinkerbell and get that lucky dime on board and then start to catch up. But with so little resources in his hand, it's really not looking good for Justin. Is that Let It Go?
It is Let It Go.
I thought it was that we saw earlier, going to remove one of the characters from board. The 3 Be Prepared in Ruben's hand. Doesn't really need them at this point in the game, though.
I think Let It Go might have been the top deck this turn. I also had a bit of a count. It was 10 ink, I believe.
10.
There might be 1 or 2 more, but there's at least 10 ink available for Justin.
Yep, great stuff. But
now we need some cards.
You see a smile on Justin's face. He's just thinking, what's happened? What happened?
Hiram Flavisham would, oh, it's grab your swords.
Yeah, grab your swords, grab your bow.
Good enough. Really, Hiram Flavisham would have been great here.
Oh, yeah, you can really see the difference in the matchup when you don't hit that Toy Maker, because this Sapphire Steel deck not running a whole lot of other draw options. We are not, we are running 4 copies of A Whole New World. For a moment, I thought this was a Whole New World less list, but we haven't seen that either. Nope. We haven't seen the Flavisham. So Justin has just missed all their draw options here, whereas Ruben has been able to recycle Rabbits, recycle Maleficent, just draw cards, and yeah, speaking of which, absolutely, and he's just running away. He's already at 14 lore. That's going to take us to 17, I believe, and now we are just a goat bounce quest away from game.
Yeah, and there's easily game on board at this stage. Justin probably going to be thinking about going to game 2, and is thinking about going to game 2. Justin concedes. Ruben is too far ahead, and Ruben is just 1 game away from the final.
Yeah, it just didn't go his way that particular time. Yeah, I actually missed this Whole New World in the deck. Obviously, it's such a fantastic card, but we've seen a few Sapphire Steel decks recently not opting to run the Whole New World, deciding they don't like the idea of refreshing their opponent's hand. They would rather just refresh with Flavisham. But in that game, we didn't see either, so wasn't able to build resources, and our Ruby Amethyst player Ruben just running away with the game.
Yeah, unfortunately, and we said it's not a great matchup to begin with, but when the matchup goes like that, it is most definitely not a great matchup. Was that a 20-0 victory?
I think it was, Ross.
We don't see too many of them, and that's the problem. Justin just never really got going. There's 2 things you're looking for in this matchup. You're looking at building your Inkwell and building your hand.
Yes.
One of those went really well in that game.
One of them did not.
One of them did not go very well in that game, and that led to the quick win there from Ruben.
Because it's lovely having a nice big Inkwell, but if you've got nothing to use it with, then what's it doing?
Exactly. It's not just about having the ink, it's about having something to do with it. It's like when I'm at home and my kids are like, Daddy, I found my big pencil case full of pens, and then there's no paper in the house. Every parent knows what I'm talking about here, that one day all the paper has disappeared. What are you going to draw on?
To be fair, I'm not a parent, but I have done a lot of teaching work in the past, so I have a small fraction of an idea of your pain. Well, I say your pain, that makes it sound awful, but yeah, I understand what you're talking about. But yeah, our player's going to be moving into game 2. Ruben hoping to make it a 2-0 and proceed into the finals of the Disney Lorcana Challenge in Bochum. But if our Sapphire Steel player has anything to say about it, good old Justin, then he's going to bring it out to a 1-1, and we'll go to a game 3. Not a great opening hand from Ruben. Has he mulliganed yet? No, I don't think he has yet.
That is the mulligan. I believe it was actually a mulligan 7.
Okay.
I think that was the I think I just saw the entire hand put at the bottom of the deck and a new hand of 7 being drawn.
Yeah, and this is looking a little bit better for Justin. I'm not sure what he threw back into the deck, but I definitely saw him draw a Flavisham and a Whole New World.
Okay.
May throw back the Whole New World. You don't always want that in your opening hand, but he does opt to keep it. But the Flavisham, I was going to say, that is definitely something you want to keep. We're going to be inking Tinkerbell. Down comes that Porpsicle, standard Porpsicle things, and passing over to Ruben, who's going to draw a card.
Yeah, we're off in game 2 here, and Justin has got some draw like he didn't have back in game 1. So we do see the ink from Ruben. Do we have a 1-drop? Maybe a Turnerbox Followers? No, we don't.
No.
A second Tinkerbell being inked to play our old friend, Mr. Smee.
Yes, this is immediately looking a lot different. Ross was able to get that Porpsicle. We know we have a Flavisham in the hand. I'm sure Justin would have also liked to 1-jump ahead there, but to be fair, since Ruben didn't play anything, this Mr. Smee going to help with some really early quest pressure, and of course that 3-3 stat line means it can check characters. The Madam in Fox hitting the Inkwell, and just a pass once again from Ruben. No Flynn Rider, nothing, a whole lot of nothing, and Justin's got another Mr. Smee in his hand. Does he just go aggro here? He's going to ink that Smee, quest with another Smee. The bumbling mate putting in a lot of work.
Already got more lore than we had back in game 1. That bumbling mate is a great option. And of course, you know, Whole New World, it's not always secure in your hand, but in this matchup, it should be able to hold it in hand and use it as and when you want it.
You're absolutely right, but as a Ruby Amethyst player, he knows that Justin's playing a Whole New World. Obviously didn't see it in the previous game, but he's seen the deck list. And as a Ruby Amethyst player, if you know they're playing a Whole New World, it can change your game plan. Because if you just sit there and drawing cards, then you could just get lose it all. They play a whole new world, and you just lose your entire hand. Like here, you see the friends on the other side being inked. Yes, we're drawing a card with Maleficent, but I don't think there was a whole lot of choice there, and we need to get something onto the board to contest with that Mr. Smee.
Yeah, we see Rise of the Titans getting inked, and Hiram Flavisham finally hits the board, gets rid of that Fortisphere there, draws a card, draws 2 cards,
Couple
in
of
fact.
cards, yeah.
1 when you play the Fortisphere, 2 when you banish it with Hiram Flavisham. It's not bad for a 1-cost item card.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And now that Justin has committed to that draw 2 from Flavisham, maybe now Ruben feels a little bit better about drawing some cards. Because like I said before, if you just spend all the time going Friends, Rabbit, Maleficent, and then they just go a whole new world, you could potentially lose all your Be Prepared.
Yep.
You could lose all your Be King Undisputed, your Ladies in Chairs, and that is not what you want to see. But because Justin has drawn a few more cards with Flavisham, maybe he's a bit more comfortable drawing cards. I'm not sure, though. He's going to ink that Friends on the other side, and down is going to come the Queen's Castle. Nice early pressure on Justin, making him not ignore this Queen's Castle.
Yeah, I like this. Queen's Castle does one of 2 things. It either gets you 2 lore every turn, or it makes your opponent have to deal with it. And with 7 willpower, that is not always as easy as it looks. Now, we do have Whole New World in hand. We got Grab Your Swords. We got that Mickey Mouse Detective. We do have the Beast, but without any items down, that's a less good card.
Yeah, not definitely. This is not the matchup that the Beast Hard-Headed is for. Obviously, removing items on play, so more for the mirror match or up against Sapphire Ruby. But it is still a 4/4 character that quests for 2. It's a 5-cost character, so it can sing a whole new world and grab your sword. So even though the item removal is not likely to be relevant, still could be an okay card. We're going to see the Fortisphere inked, and down comes the Beast Hard-Headed, and here we go, just because it's a big beat stick, and Justin knows he needs to answer this castle. But I want to give Ruben his credit. Absolutely, I think it was the right play playing that castle. Justin could have played a whole new world in this turn if he wanted to, and it didn't make sense to just keep drawing cards. So I really like that play.
And it looks like is it gonna work a little bit? Are we gonna go to Ruben's turn and get 2 lore? Yeah, it looks like we are. So if nothing else, you paid 4, got 2 lore. It's not the most efficient, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, you're right, but at the same time, we don't just think of it as only gaining 2 lore. If it demands attention from Justin's side of the board, forces them to play characters that they otherwise wouldn't want to, because he played that Beast Hard-Headed so he can answer this castle. He might have preferred to do something else and play some ramp cards like One Jump Ahead, Fishbone Quill. So even though the Queen's Castle hasn't gained a lot of advantage yet, it is affecting how Justin has to play the game.
No, you're absolutely right with that one. So, with the Queen, I think has Maleficent moved into the castle?
Not yet. We have only just gone into Ruben's hand. He's inked the Madam Mim Fox, and it won't be able to now because Maui is going to come down for a cost of 5 and going to remove that Flavisham straight away, stop Justin from being able to constantly refresh his resources. And the Maleficent is going to be faced with a couple of options here. It could just quest, or it could go into that Smee bumbling mate who already has 1 damage counter on him and trade.
Yeah, I don't mind this at all. And there is an element here. If you're playing against Steel Sapphire, right, you're playing against this matchup.
Yep.
If you take away all your opponent's draw, you might force them into a whole new world.
Right.
So sometimes it's worth taking out their draw engine because you want them to play it.
For sure.
So we do see another Hiram Flavisham coming down here anyway, so we're not there yet. We've got plenty of cards in hand for Justin, plenty of draw. We don't need whole new world yet, but it's there as an option if you need it, which I think is the best way around.
Yeah, for sure, and especially if Ruben starts to really build up their hand, courtesy of Rabbits, friends on the other side, Maleficent. If that starts to get a bit carried away, then Justin may do it just to deny Ruben some resources. But you can definitely say this game is going a lot better for Justin than game 1. He's been allowed to play. He's got his draw engine going. We're going to see the Scuttle hit the board, who does find that lucky dime, Ross.
Oh, nice. I will say, when I was watching a bit of Justin's game out there during top 8, I did walk past. I saw Justin play a Scuttle and whiff.
It happens, but again, I'll make the same point again. As a Ruby Amethyst player, I don't want you playing Scuttles and Mickey Mouses. Why? Because I don't want you to be able to extend when you play your Tamatoas and Aerials. I want only 1 threat on the board so that I can just make you remove it. So I really like the addition to Scuttle. Even if you think, the odds to hit aren't great, who cares? You can hit sometimes, or you can get a little bit closer to your lucky dime. And again, it's just another character to help give you some protection.
We saw Maui there trading into the Beast, and then Fishbone Quill comes down from Justin, and Mickey Mouse comes down. Top card of your deck gets randomly inked, can backfire occasionally, but most of the time it just gives you a lovely little extra bit of ink. And Scuttle providing all of the benefit here, because we're also going to be questing.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? You've had your ability, and we've got a couple of characters down, so let's gain a little bit of lore, and of course that may make the Madame Medusa challenge as opposed to questing, and every lore helps.
Every little helps indeed. So, Justin here managing to build up that inkwell quite nicely. There's 8 ink in there. Ruben plays a rabbit. Merlin Rabbit, draw a card. And inking a Flynn Rider. Make sure you can keep up with that ink. Also able to play a Sisu there as well. And if I'm not mistaken, that's 7 ink, which means if you want to play Be Prepared in the future, we've got enough ink on the board to do so.
Yeah.
And since Madame Medusa was down last term, let's quest.
Yep, absolutely. I thought possibly could have just gone into the Scuttle, but Ruben's saying, nope, I'm happy to just sit here and quest. I'm hoping that I'm going to get there faster than you, especially since I put down this Sisu Emboldened Warrior. But again, Justin with quite a high amount of ink at the moment. He's got that lucky dime. We see the Tamatoa, who is going to be thrown down onto the board, exerting 8 ink. We're going to find ourselves a Porpsicle. I'm not sure if we have inked for turn, but we can exert the Fishbone Quill.
Now we have.
There we go. And now we can play that Porpsicle, which is going to increase the amount of lore that Tamatoa's got. You've got to imagine that lucky dime will come down potentially next turn. We've also got the Fortisphere. Oh, that's going to go into the inkwell, so we hadn't inked for turn.
No, we had not inked for turn. Now we get that coming down. We are questing with Scuttle, getting 1 extra lore, which is a nice little bonus. And next turn, we could be looking big. We got 2 items down. That would be pretty easy to go to 4 next turn.
Yep.
Which would be 10 lore from just the Tamatoa and the lucky dime. Justin is putting a bit of a clock on here. Ruben knows you need to get rid of Tamatoa. Is it time for Be Prepared?
It might have to be, Ross, and I'll tell you why. Here is exactly what I was talking about, that Mickey Mouse and Scuttle stopping the Lady Tremaine from being able to deal with this Tamatoa far easier, because obviously the Be Prepared, it's got to be tempting to get rid of this Tamatoa.
Here we go.
There you go, but of course also losing his own Madame Medusa, his own Emboldened Warrior, and the Rabbit. Of course the Rabbit's going to draw a card, but you've got to think he would have liked to recycle it a bit more, but not left with a lot of choice there, really. The Tamatoa was about to quest for a whole lot. He knows that Justin has the lucky dime because Justin had to reveal it when he found it off the Scuttle. So yeah, I think Ruben was just faced with no choice but to be prepared there. Yeah,
that was not going to end well for Ruben there. Justin was going to have the Tamatoa lucky dime combination. You don't really want to be prepared, but you kind of have to. You're forced into it. You lose some of your own characters, but you at least reset your opponent's board. Justin has played the lucky dime down now, and it looks like we are going to be back. Oh no, we're actually rolling with Justin here. I think Ruben's turn was quite short.
Yeah, I kind of missed that myself. But we're over on Justin. He got the Madam Mim Snake down. Yep. But yeah, here comes the Aerial Treasure Collector, and this is going to put on some pressure. We know Ruben is holding the Lady Tremaine. Does Justin have another character that he can put next to this Aerial? If he can, then that's going to be absolutely huge. You're going to have to play the whole new world. That gets rid of the Be King Undisputed and the Lady Tremaine. There's 1 or 2 Be King Undisputeds left in Ruben's deck, along with another copy of Lady Tremaine, but still a pretty good hit.
Yeah, and we are going to be able to get 5 lore from that lucky dime. Here we go, going from 5 up to 10. You were 3 lore down, you're now 2 lore up. But not getting another character is not ideal. It gives that protection. Did we just top deck? Okay, it's a brawl.
It's a brawl, not what we wanted to see. And that's a Madame Medusa. This is a time where it's heartbreaking that you got the wrong lady in red, because obviously these 2 ladies, similar but oh so different. Madame Medusa needs a 3 character with 3 strength or less, and Tremaine, it could be any character, but of course your opponent gets to choose. So if that was a Lady Tremaine, Ruben would be still in an okay position, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to remove this Aerial this turn. Can he find a Be King Undisputed? He just drew a couple of cards.
It was unfortunately Maleficent, and
yeah, he has to. He absolutely has to play this Be Prepared. There is no choice. Otherwise, next turn, Justin was gaining 10 lore, Ross, which would have absolutely been game. He'd have quested with Aerial for 5 and then exerted the lucky dime to get all the way to game. So Ruben was left with no choice.
Oh, you had to be prepared. You literally lose. But here, comes Bell. You do have 5 ink in the inkwell, which means Lucky Dime, or 10 ink, sorry, which means Lucky Dime will get you 5. Oh, a second Lucky Dime! Double Lucky Dime on the Bell is 10 lore, and that is going to be the game for Justin.
Even Ruben's got a smile on his face, like, what? What just happened here? Oh my goodness, being able to have the Be Prepared to take away the check that that Justin had with that aerial plus dime. Okay, fine, you play Be Prepared, but I have a strange but special when I've got a second Lucky Dime.
Oh. Well, I was literally like, we're celebrating the Bell coming down, and in my head, I'm like, good start, but that's only half of what you need. Yep. You need to wait till next turn, and then the second Lucky Dime hits the board, and I'm like, yeah, that'll do it.
Make it
a double.
End the game. Double dime, baby. Oh, that was absolutely amazing game. Definitely went a lot better for Justin than game 1. If you're only just joining us, we are in the top 4 of DLC Bochum, Germany. We're watching Ruby Amethyst versus Sapphire Steel. Game 1, the Ruby Amethyst player absolutely ran away with the game. We had Flynn Rider just generating so much lore enough. Our Sapphire Steel player was able to find no copies of A Whole New World, no copies of Flavisham, and our Ruby Amethyst player just absolutely rolled away with it. But that game went a lot differently. The Sapphire Steel player doing all the things they want to do. They had the Flavisham, they had the Whole New World when they needed it. They managed to get that aerial down next to a dime, and that Scuttle finding the dime as well. And again, I know I keep making this point, but I really want to make it hard. I want to make this point very clear. Having the extra characters to put next to your aerial or Tamatoa makes all the difference against these Ruby decks.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And here's the thing. I've been looking at, like I say, but advance of this tournament, I'm looking at every deck I can.
Yep.
Steel, Sapphire, they all play, obviously, Tamatoa.
Yep.
Aerial, very common. Bell is a lot less common. I'm not saying it's not played, but I'm saying it's a lot less common in these decks. Justin has gone, I'm playing them all. Yep. I'm playing Aerial, I'm playing Bell, I'm playing Tamatoa. I'm going for all 3 of them because they are basically the 3 good Lucky Dime targets.
Absolutely. They're what's going to get you those huge lore jumps towards the end of the game, whether that's getting you that final piece you need to get to game or just helping you catch up with your opponent.
And having all 3 of them in the deck really is coming around clutch here. I mean,
it's a 2-2.
Yeah, when the aerial went down, you're thinking, oh no, this is going to take a couple of turns to come back. Being able to just fix it with a belt was huge.
Yeah, fantastic play. And that second Lucky Dime coming down, I heard the whole, our German broadcast partners were just as hyped as we were. But we are going into game 3 of top 4. Which one of these players are moving on to the final to try and earn the right to name themselves the champion of Disney Lorcana Challenge Bochum? Will it be one of our Ruby Amethyst players, Ruben, or our sole Sapphire Steel player, Justin Morales?
Yeah, we're going to have to see as we go through here with 1 game each. We're only 28 minutes in.
Right.
If this was a tradition, like if this was just like a 70-minute best of 3, we'd have plenty of time left. But I think, Scuttle getting inked straight away for, stop me if you've heard this before, Popsicle.
Yep, I've heard it once or twice. Ruben inked to Maui, wasn't able to play a 1-drop. Justin going second with that Scuttle ink and Popsicle coming down. Will Ruben be able to find a Flynn Rider here? I'm not sure if he's holding one. I can't see one in the hand.
He's got a Maui, but that's not going to do much good.
No, this is not. Oh, is that at the beginning of his hand? Is that a Flynn Rider? Yes, it is. Right, there we go. Okay, so it was tucked away at the back. So now, once again, similar to game 1, forcing Justin to have something to answer this. And that thing he has, there you go. Baboom is able to do the business. Didn't have a character that could match that 2 strength for Flynn Rider, but having that Baboom, being able to remove that Flynn Rider, it's a really important piece against a lot of matchups as well. I suppose it's probably been taking out a lot of Diablos across the course of the weekend as well. So, yeah, Baboom, a really strong piece. Ruben's going to ink to 3. Play that Maleficent to draw an additional card.
I tell you what, I've spent a lot of time saying I'm not a fan of this Maleficent card, and it really, today, I've been thinking more about it. I've been thinking through deck lists, and I'm starting to feel like I understand why so many people play that Maleficent. Don't tell Joe.
I certainly won't, but I'll be honest with you, mate. It's not that Maleficent's a great card. It's a consistency card.
Yes.
That's what I think of it as. You are just deck thinning. You have to play at least 60 cards in the Disney Lorcana trading card game. But if you could play less, maybe you would, just because that increases your odds that you're going to hit the cards that you want to see. So any card that just immediately draws is helping us get closer to those key pieces. Justin playing a Fishbone Quill, exerting it to ink up to 4 and passing it back to Ruben.
Yeah, Justin here building up the ink, needs to make sure we can get some cards. That was a big difference between game 1 and game 2. Ruben gets the Queen's Castle down, going, right, well, if I can't have any passive lore with Flynn Rider, let's try getting it with the Queen's Castle Mirror Chamber. So, Justin, what do we have in hand? We have a Mr. Smee.
It is worth mentioning that Justin is running 2 copies of Rise of the Titans.
Oh,
I don't think we've seen any in this game, unless it was inked and we missed it. But that is a card that can answer this Queen's Castle. Unfortunately, doesn't have it just yet. Opting to play the Cogsworth Grandfather Clock, who's going to make a great singer for future turns.
Yeah, that singer, and also just to resist. It gives resist +1 to all of your characters.
Of course.
Makes all your characters harder to take out. It's got ward itself. So Cogsworth is basically like, look, I'm hard to take. Well, I would say that. But if you're the only character in play and B King Undisputed comes down, well, that makes a bit of a difference now, doesn't it?
It makes a huge difference, that B King Undisputed getting through the ward keyword. And this is why I keep emphasizing the Sapphire Steel players. I think you need to have some low-cost characters in your deck. Justin does. He has Mickeys and Scuttles. Unfortunate they didn't have one on the board at the time, but I think having those low-cost characters really does help out in your Ruby Amethyst matchup.
Yeah, being able to protect against Lady Tremaine and B King Undisputed, both of which do the same thing. Absolutely huge. Now we have a couple of cards in hand. There's a Cogsworth, which gets inked. So it's just Belle and Whole New World.
Yep.
And it is a whole new world. We actually saw double inking there by virtue of the Fishbone Quill. And then a new hand of 7. And I do see the toy maker, 2 of them in fact. Oof. Maybe they can team up and make a lot of toys very quickly.
And Ruben's got to be thanking his lucky stars that he was able to remove this Cogsworth, because if not, Justin would have been singing that with Cogsworth and then would have all his ink still to utilize right here. So definitely slowed Justin's turn down a bit, but still able to do a complete hand refresh and hopefully come back swinging in the next turn.
We got 2 Fishbone Quill down. So that is a lot of ink. We see Porpsicle as well. So I think we've got 5 items. And against a deck that's generally not going after items, that gives a big stash of items to discard or to trash, to banish, that's what I'm looking for. With Hiram Flavisham to draw cards, it's a bunch of items to power up Maui. I love stacking up these items in these Sapphire decks.
Yeah, we see the Maleficent moving into the Queen's Castle. We inked a Flynn Rider to play, a Flynn Rider, second Queen's Castle coming down. Okay, that is a great play. Ruben is already at 7 ink. Now, Justin, as I said, is running Rise of the Titans, but I don't know if there are any in his hand. No, I'm not seeing it. We could maybe dig for it with Flavisham. There's one, a Dime and a Tinkerbell, not what we needed to be able to answer these Queen's Castles. So I've got a feeling that they might be sticking, and then that's going to help Rubens jump up to 11 lore at the beginning of their next turn. And don't forget, the Flynn Rider also on the board.
Yeah, and that means that you could potentially get 7 passive lore.
Yep.
Right now, you're not getting that by... Oh, wait, no. Havisham's only got 1 strength.
Yep, Flavisham's only got 1 strength, so Justin would need to either find a way to remove this Flavisham. We're not seeing... sorry, to remove the Flynn Rider, should I say. Didn't see a Baboom in his hand. Isn't able to find a character to equal it out. So, yeah, it looks like Flynn Rider is going to be gaining this 3 lore, and this double castle going to be jumping up even more.
Wow, we are inking with a Fishbone Quill here, so I do think there is a plan that Justin is working on. Do we have enough ink for the big tink? Oh, I'm not 100% sure.
I actually wondered if he was extending the handshake for a moment there. I was like, no, Justin, don't give up. You can still do it.
Nah,
I think the German team thought the exact same thing.
We are not there. The German team were looking at us as well, being like, did you think that too? I didn't, incidentally.
Don't give up, Justin. We believe in you.
So we do have enough ink for the big tink, and that means that you are not going to get the you're not going to get the lore
boost
with Flynn Rider, but you are going to get the lore with the castle, going from 7 up to 11.
Absolutely, and that additional card draw because of the Maleficent that's at the Queen's Castle. In fact, the Flynn Rider's also at the Queen's Castle, so that was a draw 3. So nice big hand here for Ruben. That Be Prepared looking pretty tempting, I could imagine. Moves it to the front of his hand at least. Yeah, I feel that that's the way we're going when you immediately quest both your characters as an RA player. It tends to be a sign that the dreaded Be Prepared is coming down.
But here's the thing. You've got Tinkerbell, who's a pretty big character who can put on some pressure and quest for 2.
And sing songs.
And sing songs. And you've got Hero and Flavisham that is your draw engine. So taking out both of them. And the thing is, Ruben's saying, I've got double castle down. I win in 2 turns guaranteed regardless. I don't care if I've got characters down. I care if you've got characters down, and that's why Be Prepared was such a good play there.
You're absolutely right, and Justin's got to be heartbroken that he hasn't been able to find either of these 2 copies. I keep looking back to the deck list just to confirm, like, they are in the deck, right? But yeah, I'm seeing it written down here. 2 copies of Rise of the Titans is a 3-cost inkable action. You can banish chosen location or item, and you got to think Justin was really hoping to have found them by now, because this double castle is, as you say, Ross, he's on a 2-turn clock.
Yeah, start of Ruben's next turn, he goes up to 17. Start of the turn after, he wins, and Justin is still on 0 lore, and there's a lot of items out. Now, Tamatoa Lucky Dime, I'm not saying it's coming, I am saying there's a lot of ink on Justin's board and double Fishbone Quill, so you can ink 3 cards in 1 turn.
Yep.
If we could see a Brave New World, a whole new world, if we could see a whole new world, getting a new hand of 7, ink 3, we could potentially see Tamatoa and Lucky Dime in the same turn. It wouldn't win the game now, it would win the game next turn, but it kind of needs to be now.
Yeah.
I suppose you...
I mean, yeah, Justin's in this position where he's on a 2-turn clock. We know that Sapphire can make these huge jumps. There's a lot of ink there. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. Let's start again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm just thinking about trying to do the Tamatoa and Lucky Dime combination.
10, 11, 12.
But you need Lucky Dime this turn.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I agree with you. That's definitely the route that you need to take to get to victory here.
Tamatoa.
I'm just seeing what's possible with our ink amount. The Tamatoa coming down, recycling that 4 to Sphere.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we've not got enough right now. So Ruben goes up to 17. And is there any way Justin can get 20 lore next turn? I don't think there is.
I don't think so
either. You would need 9 items, including Lucky Dime. Now, if we see it, it is going to be the best ending to any game of Lorcana, not just that I've seen, not just that you've seen, that anyone has ever seen. But I don't think Justin's getting to 9 items next turn.
But we do have a goat in hand. However, you've got to think that Ruben would be interested in bouncing this goat, because he can play it now, go to 18, then he is assured to go to 19 when it leaves the board. But then is he able to find that final lore? It's likely that he is able to, but if he had a bounce card in hand now, this would pretty much just be it.
I honestly think this turn's basically irrelevant for Ruben, unless you can go goat, bounce, goat.
Yeah.
If you can go goat, bounce, goat, you win the game right now.
Yeah, and you need 10 ink for that.
There's
the third Queen's Castle coming down to join that Merlin goat. Ruben is up to 18 lore, 6 lore gain potential for Ruben's side of the field. Can Justin find even double Rise of the Titans? Wouldn't be enough anymore, Ross.
He needs to win this game right now. He needs to win this turn. So we need 9 items, one of which is a Lucky Dime. I don't think, or 4. How does the maths work? 6 items, including 2 Lucky Dimes. 6 items, including 2 Lucky Dimes, would be quest for 7 with Tamatoa, Lucky Dime for 7, Lucky Dime for 7. If we see another Lucky Dime here...
But you need...
Wait, is there one in the... Is there one in the discard pile? So we see Tamatoa questing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is a Portsicle. Is there enough here?
I think it's questing for 9, actually, because it's got 1 lore itself.
And there's a Portsicle.
Hold on. Is he actually going to do this?
Are we going to actually be able to do it? We've got a Smash coming down. That is getting inked. A second Lucky Dime would have guaranteed the win here. But we've only got 1 Lucky Dime, 1 Tamatoa. So we would need 11. Oh, no, 10 because of Hiram Flavisham. 10 items. We've only got 8. We need 2 more items.
Yeah, there's 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 items on the board. So Tamato are able to quest for 9, and then
Well,
the
Lucky Dime copy for 9. Tamato's already quested. So the Lucky Dime would get 9. Hiram Flavisham would put you up by 1. You need 2 more items. I think you need 2 more items to do this. I don't think we've got enough. I think it's 9 for Lucky Dime. You would need 2 more items and then quest with Hiram Flavisham. And I think Justin's going to fall a little bit short.
I think so too. And Ruben staring right at him, being like, do you have it? Do you have it? Because he knows if this turn ends without Justin winning, then Ruben will win this game. But I think you're right, Ross. I think we don't have quite enough ink. I'd love to be proved wrong. You're very right. If we can win in this one turn, that would be one of the greatest things I've seen in Lorcana so far.
Justin is not removing the 3 Queens castles.
No.
The second Ruben, if Justin doesn't win this turn, he loses as soon as he passes to Ruben. He's got to finish it off this turn. We are going to see a Fishbone Quill. That doesn't really matter at the moment. Right now, we need a second Lucky Dime or 2 non-Lucky Dime items. That would mean Lucky Dime gets 11, Hiram Flavisham gets 1, that's 20, that is the game. I believe, and stop me if I'm missing something here, Baker, I believe that is all, the only route for Justin here is 1 Lucky Dime or 2 non-Lucky Dime items.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Oh, wait, I thought
that's twice now. I thought he was offering the handshake.
That I thought was a handshake.
Justin, you're a tease.
Justin is counting up. I think Justin is doing the same maths that we are here.
Trying to work it out.
I think it's game. I think it's Ruben into the final. We see Justin sighing. I think it's about time, unless there is something we are all missing.
This Flavisham has already drawn.
Oh, now Flavisham could quest and trash an item looking for a second Lucky Dime.
Has it definitely been on the floor on the field since last turn? I thought it came down this turn.
It might have come down, and even then, I don't think there's enough ink for another Lucky Dime, honestly. I think there's only 5 open ink
He has
available.
another Fishbone Quill that hasn't exerted yet, so we could add some more ink, so that's not an issue.
I think we're at that stage where Justin's going, I'm short, let me double check, triple check, quadruple check.
Of course.
We see the counting of the items over and over, and I think Justin is realizing what we've said, hopefully not from us saying it. They shouldn't be able to hear us.
No, they absolutely can't hear us.
Justin is going to be 2 law short, and the second you turn to Ruben's turn, it is going to be the game.
Okay,
so,
great.
There is the quest. We go up to 9. If you don't have the win in hand, you've got to banish an item and hope. But do you even have enough ink for the Lucky Dime here? I don't know if you do.
2, 3, 4, 5. I'm seeing 5 ink still readied.
Is there any way he top decks 2 1-cost items?
What have we got? I do see the Lucky Dime there.
There is a Lucky Dime, but I don't think he's got enough ink to play the Lucky Dime.
No, me either. Plus, you need the extra 2 ink to exert the dime. He's just even revealing it. Look at that look from Ruben. You see the exhale there. Like, this is far too close for comfort from me. Justin knowing that he's just a little bit shy. He's going to do a jump here.
And there is the handshake. Ruben is going to the final.
Oh, what an incredible game, Ross. Oh, amazing. Like, can't blame him for taking the time to really do the math 10 times over. We're untimed. We're in the top 4. Needed to know if he could get there. But one of my favorite things about that was just the interactions between the 2 players at the end there. Like, they were both aware of how close the other one was to game. Lots of very nervous smiles and deep breaths. And even now, a smile on his face. I mean, I'm sure he's disappointed 100%. But what a dramatic game to go out on. And absolutely no shame. There's another handshake. That to me is always a sign of respect. If you offer a handshake a second time, that really does show just how much you respected what your opponent just did in that game.
I tell you, we can't blame them for double checking.
No.
But I spent the entire...
I'd still be there. Yeah. I would still be there counting.
But I'm sitting here, and I laid it out, and I was like, right, I think he's 2 laws short. And then the turn kept going, and I'm sitting there being like, what have I missed?
Yep.
What have I missed? Have I missed something? Have I missed something? Is there another route open? Is there something I've not seen? Is there another way to win? There wasn't, unfortunately. And that's the thing. we saw Justin on 0 lore for so long there.
Yep.
One cheeky little quest for 2 at any point during that game, which was never an option because Justin always
never
had
gave
two
him the
other
chance.
things.
Yeah.
But if there was one chance for a cheeky little quest for 2 lore at one point during that game, Justin would have been able to get over the line. I'm pretty sure Justin could have ended that turn on 18 ink, but 18 lore. But 18 lore was not enough, and it was such a close best of 3.
You're absolutely right.
Except game 1.
It's super interesting. We mentioned earlier about the Queen's Castle came down, but it did make Justin play in a way where he needed to respond to that first Queen's Castle. So he was challenging into it with that beast hard-headed, whereas that could have been the 2 lore that he needed.
That could have been the 2 lore, but then again, who knows what would have gone on from there. It does feel like we've got an interview coming up very shortly indeed. We are going to be hearing from our first confirmed finalist, and I mean, that has got to feel good. And Ruby Amethyst, I mean, maybe you were right all along, Baker.
Ruby Amethyst is a pretty good deck.
But how similar is your list to his is the question.
Let me double check quickly. Not a lot. I'm playing 4 Kuzcos. I like the 2-drop Kuzco to be an extension. I'm also playing 1 copy of Teeth and Ambitions, which I think of as basically 5th Brawl. It's just an extra answer to be able to deal with the Diablo, and there's nice synergy with the Kuzco because it can sing it, and then you can put the damage on the Kuzco and draw a card. Other than that, the decks look pretty similar.
Yeah, a lot of these decks are pretty similar. It comes down to matchups, and it comes down to skill. It comes down to how much do you mulligan? When do you mulligan? Are you going 4 cards, 5 cards, 6 cards? I think we saw a 7-card mulligan.
Yeah, if you need
in
to
one
do
of
it.
those games.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, especially in an open decklist format where you know what your opponent's playing, you know that there's certain cards that you need to see, whether it's if you're the Ruby Amethyst player and you know you're up against Sapphire Steel, you're thinking, all right, I want to find this Flynn because that could absolutely, like game 1, that just won the game nearly out of nowhere. Or on the other side of the coin, if you are going into Ruby Amethyst, you might be thinking, right, I need to find a character that's got a bit of strength to counter this Flynn, or even a Baboom or something like that. So yeah, the mulligan are definitely one of the greatest bits of skill expression in the game of Lorcana. And
then, of course, you got the in-game decisions. One of the things that really got me was that turn where you're like, fine, I will be prepared your single aerial.
Yep.
Now, that was an easier one because it was, they've got game on board. I literally have to get rid of aerial.
Yep.
This is my only choice. But just being open to those kind of plays is the kind of thing you have to do. Searching for everything. And we saw Ruben didn't want to do that.
No.
They were trying to keep the be prepared, use something else, but then they ran out of options and went, fine, I will be prepared. I wanted Lady Tremaine. I wanted Be King Undisputed.
Hit the Medusa instead, unfortunately.
Couldn't get them, so I'll play this Be Prepared, but it's not just that I'm willing to play it, it's that I understand it is a last resort.
Yep.
I will play it if I have to, I'm not going to play it straight away.
Yeah, because they would have lost otherwise. There was the aerial treasure collector and the lucky dime on the board, and that would have been the final 10 lore they needed. But it was just responded to with a Bell Strange but special, so still managed to get there. But yeah, what an incredible game of Lorcana. We now know one of our finalists, Ruby Amethyst, will be competing for the crown of DLC champion of Bochum, and I am so excited to watch the finals. Of course, I won't be here with you. It's going to be you joined by Joe, who will be back for the finals, but it's been such an incredible pleasure to be here across the weekend. Man. It's been great to be casting alongside with you, Ross, and get to watch all these incredible players. I'm excited for the next. When's the next one?
Bologna in just over a month's time.
That's absolutely right.
Just under a month's time?
Yeah, it's around that, but also
about a month's time.
About a month. That's as specific as you need it to be. But yeah, a huge shout out as well to our American watchers who have Fort Worth coming up towards the end of the month. If you're in chat and you're going to Fort Worth, let us know in chat, interact with us a little bit. But yeah, this is the biggest pool of data that those players are going to draw from. So I'm very curious to see how much this meta game is going to influence what people bring into that Fort Worth DLC.
I came in here with going Steel Song. I want to know more about Steel Song. I want to know how legit it is. And with apologies to Steel Song players out there, I think we got our answer with Steel Song. I think we look at Chicago, we look at Bochum, and we say Steel Song is a good deck.
Yep.
It is a good choice. Good players will do very well with it. It's probably not going to win a DLC. It's probably not going to be in big numbers in the top car. That does not mean we cannot have one exceptional player coming through, having a really good run and surprising us, but it does mean that's what it's going to take. It is a deck that I expect to be played in all right numbers in, day 1. I expect a few of them in day 2, and I expect most, if not all of them, to be bumped as we go through those earlier top cut rounds. I don't see it as a legitimate contender, and that doesn't mean it's not a great deck, but I mean, I'm putting Emerald Steel up here, I'm putting Ruby Amethyst up here, and I'm putting Steel Soul just a little bit lower. I don't think it's on that same level, and we've got 2 big tournaments worth of data that say exactly that.
Yep, that's a very good observation, but who knows, all it takes is the right pilot, or maybe a bit of unique deck building, a little tech that nobody's thinking about, that maybe is the answer to make one of these decks jump up to that top level. But I'm very excited to see it. I love the Disney Lorcana trading card game. We have a wonderful meta. The game has such a beautiful future, and I'm just so glad and so honored to be a part of its beginnings.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it very much. It's a good game. It's one we're very much enjoying. Do we have to take a break in a minute?
I think we're going to take a very short break, but don't worry, you'll be back very shortly with Joe. I may appear maybe right at the end when they're saying goodbye. I'll come and do a little wave, but other than that, that's mostly going to be it from me. But that could all change, who knows? But we are going to take a short break. It's been a pleasure to be here with you guys. Don't go anywhere because the finals are going to be coming up very soon.